It's Golden Hour Adventure Time, featuring everyday people doing extraordinary things. From the peaks of victory to the valleys of defeat, these are their stories. Now, from the back of the pack, your hosts, Justin and Robbie.
Welcome to Golden Hour Adventures. Today we have the queen herself, bad ultra running advice, Queen Kendra Wilson. She claims she is also the DFL queen, the maybe DNF queen. She told me that she's a trash panda before we came on here. Coming off of a recent DNF as of yesterday, so I'd like to hear that side of the story as well. But I mean, I don't know if you need any more introduction. Everybody in ultra running should know who you are. If you're not on bad ultra running advice, well, you're not a real ultra runner. So go on Facebook, get in there, apply as an application to date Kendra. She's got them out there. Welcome to the podcast. That's probably the most in-depth introduction I've ever done. And I've had like really good friends on here before, and it's like
you were passionate
stuff that I know
about that
like
one.
Dirt on, and I've never done that.
You were passionate about that one.
That was good.
I show up hard. What can I say?
feel like when you have somebody that you know can take a joke, you got to throw all you can at them.
Literally.
Right? I mean, you got to expect I'm going to get it back, and I appreciate that. But I feel like if I can throw a joke at you and you can take it, yeah.
Not the only thing I could take. Wow, like DNFs.
Oh, this was about to go real left field. What you're about to say, I was like, "Dang, okay, We're going there then." I guess.
All right.
I guess it's not an ultra running podcast anymore.
Single mom, single dad, new dad.
Believe it or not,
You heard it here. Oh gosh. Oh, she
Yeah.
said it's not the only thing she can take. Let's jump into how'd you become the queen of bad ultra running advice?
It started with Aid Station Fireball. I laughed at something and they responded, "Oh my God, the queen of BUA, bad ultra running advice, is in my DMs laughing at my stuff." And everybody I don't even know if I shared that, but everybody just kind of coined the term. Amanda, has the, what is it? What's her podcast? I forget. And I was on it. I feel like a bad friend, but I'm a tired single mom. So that's my excuse. And I'm going to keep going with that.
Right.
But anyway, she introduced me the same way. And I guess it just kind of stuck. I think I just talk a lot of shit and people know me by my famous eyebrows. I had to put them on for today. So
you had to put them on. Wait, do they come off? Are they stickers or?
Is it a Sharpie?
I mean, I gotta wash them off. I mean, I'm pretty hardcore. I have face tattoos. They're of eyebrows, but because I run a power hike too much, the tattoo kind of faded. So.
Oh, did it?
I'm a victim of the 90s. Us women pluck them all off, and yeah, it's so dumb. Here we are, 30 years later, 20 years later, getting them tattooed on and putting them back on where they're supposed to be.
I've seen that a lot lately. People getting their eyebrows tattooed. I'm glad I never went. I mean, I don't really have eyebrows. They're blonde, so and I don't think I've never plucked mine in my life. So
do you want me to draw you some eyebrows so we could see them?
I think I'm solid. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
What is the bad ultra running advice page for someone who is maybe has run an ultra but is not a true ultra runner until you're on that page and you've posted at least once or twice? I've never posted, so I'm not a true ultra runner, but I'm a constant viewer, I guess you could call it. So what is the page?
Yeah, it's basically if someone has like an injury, they might say, "Give me your worst ultra running advice. I have like a torn ligament in my knee." I'm just making shit up. And people might say like, "Go for a 20 miler and shake, a little shakeout." So or someone will post an x-ray of a broken bone. Like, "Have you tried running on it?" That's the bad ultra running advice. So.
I love it.
Theoretically, there's a lot of garbage in there too. Most of it comes from me. Before this podcast, I was sprinting down the stairs. I don't run in an ultra, mind you. Sprinting down the stairs. I slipped on the second to last stairs and ended up eating shit and landing on my back, just laughing hysterically. And I still finished the half of a cake that was left over from my birthday on Wednesday.
I like it.
39 and crushing ultras. Woohoo! Woo!
Eating cake.
Crushing ultras, meaning
Crushing.
DFL.
You were telling us a little bit about your first 100-miler before we logged on, and I stopped you because I'm like, this is got to be a good story. So before we jump into the 100-mile, I want to end up, there and then move forward, of course. But how did you get into running? Like, I know you didn't just jump into a 100-miler, or maybe you did. I don't know.
Yeah, I was
Maybe
going to say bad ultra running advice.
Bad ultra running advice. She just like started running with that, literally.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was in high school, I think we went outside and ran around the track, and I was really slow, but I was really consistent afterwards. I'm like, man, I grew up, I had a really shitty childhood. So I was like, man, a lot of my stress is gone now. This is kind of nice. Maybe I should do this running thing more. Never in my life did I do anything distance, not even a 5K. And then fast forward to when I was 30, had my daughter, ended up really violently ill. I'd been sick most of my life chronically, but didn't know what it was, and ended up bedridden for years with incurable diseases. One was terminal Lyme disease, mast cell disease, cystic fibrosis, which means you can't breathe and eventually die when you're my age. And I study neuroscience, and I used what I learned and in meditation and stuff, and used science and rewired my brain and healed. And I was like, well, let's see what I can do. My daughter's 8 years old now. She was little when I was sick, 3. And like I said, about 3 years ago, I was totally bedridden, couldn't breathe, couldn't walk up a flight of stairs. And when I healed, I was like, well, I've got at least a marathon in me someday. And saw Rich Roll's podcast with Courtney DeWalter and learned about ultras. And it was like, oh my God, I've got to run 100 miles, because why the hell not? You get a second lease on life. And so last year in June, I ran my first marathon. It was a backyard ultra. So that was my first DNF. Yesterday was my second DNF, same running company, Running Wild Events. I'm like, maybe I should avoid them. But
Is a backyard actually a DNF though?
Everybody DNFs at a backyard. So
yeah, everybody.
Yeah. Yesterday was my first real DNF. I didn't even know what to do. It was so funny. But I ran my first marathon last year in Estes Park with Running Wild Events. They're a great running company. And ran a 50K here I live in Denver. So it was in Lakewood, the Bear Chase Race Series, Air Vipa. It's 100 degrees out and miserable, but I finished it. I meditate every day. I've got that mental grit. Like, it's going to suck. It's going to be shitty and hot and no tree coverage and 6 water crossings in a 50K for whatever reason. I run in Speedlands, so like no blister problems. And I finished it and I wasn't wrecked. And then fast forward to December, my friend Mark D'Ambrosia randomly texts me, is like, you've got the mental grit. You should run this 100-miler with me in February. It's December.
What's your fitness like? You've not been training at all.
I'm eating like a trash panda and sitting on my ass, just getting thick and waiting for spring, doing my little shakeouts here and there. But it's like, I wasn't doing anything. And I decided to go for it. And I finished. I ran my first 100-miler February 1st with Bootleg Boogie. The RD is amazing. The race is insanely affordable. Highly recommended. The aid stations were fully packed, and I barely had time to train as a single mom, as like fully estranged single mom. No baby daddies, no family, no mom to come watch my kid. I'm like leaning on my friends. Hey, can I go running for 8 hours? And will you take my kids so I can do this long run in the dead of freaking winter? Because my dumbass decided to sign up for a 100-miler in winter. And it was in Boulder City, Nevada. The race was, but I'm in Denver where you're in Alaska. You already get it. It's nowhere near.
Yeah, you don't get sympathy from me.
Yeah. You're like, it's basically summer there still too.
Yeah.
And I finished. I saw the famous Saulius from Lithuania, lives in Seattle, came out and paced me for 50 miles. My friend Angie signed up and ran the whole thing with me. I made her leave me at mile 70 because my feet were totally racked with blisters because I pre-taped and I never do. And the tape wrecked my feet. And so from mile 7 on, it was just like annihilated feet. It was real fun to run on that. But after mile 35, I just had no pain in my body, just the blisters. And I felt bliss, luckily. I think it's because I meditate so much. I don't know. And it was just a good experience. I finished. I got my money's worth DFL because an hour and a half of getting my feet fixed sucked the clock a little bit. But You know, I finished. I'm burping up the cake I ate that I almost died for. Worth it. Real cute over here. There's a reason I'm single, guys. The more I talk, the more it'll become clear. Don't worry. It's not all just fancy drawn on eyebrows and bad jokes. I got bad jokes all day. So yeah, I finished and somehow my first ultra, I'm a freaking sloth, finish it, DFL, and managed to be third place female overall. So I still got the podium, even though I'm a freaking sloth who has a goal of eating as many 8 station Oreos and quesadillas as humanly possible. And that's literally it. So
Nice. Did they make the other athletes that finished on the podium wait for you to come so you could all stand on the podium? Or
I didn't even know until my friend told me it's on ultra sign up. She's like, you were third place female. I'm like, really? So no, actually it's the desert and it got really windy and I saw 2 sunrises and 2 sunsets, again, getting my money's worth. And the whole finish line blew away. And so it was like people holding hands, that I just ran through and that was my finish.
that's awesome.
They were like, go hug Sarah after you run through the human chain. It's like Red Rover when you're a kid. I'm like, this is not special, but it's special. It's unique, that's for sure.
That's great. Was that your so that was your first 100-miler? Had you done an ultra other than the 50K or?
No, but I went straight from 50K to 100-miler and it felt great. And because I couldn't get a sitter after I did a 20-mile long run, a week later I did a 30-mile, and then I wanted to do one more, like a 35 or maybe even 40 the week after, but I couldn't get a sitter. So I tapered for 3 weeks and we had all this crappy ice that I tried to go running, even on the road, and slipped and fell and ate it. So I was like, screw it, I'm just tapering for 3 weeks. And I somehow didn't die and had a really great experience. The first 35 miles, everything hurt. My quads, my hamstrings, my mid back, because my pack is 1,000,000 pounds filled with snacks that I refuse to let go of. Like I'll eat the 8 station food, but just in case, sometimes stuff just doesn't sound good at an ultra, and I gotta have options. It's like my security blanket, and I'm weird about it. So I just have all my crap. My picture is like my vest is just stuffed to the max, and it's embarrassing, but here we are.
It's funny, yeah. And now because 8 stations are like 3 miles apart, and so you're carrying, 25 pounds of snacks, and you're going to 3 max miles.
Literally, I could have gone by with a handheld, like I didn't need a pack at all, probably.
Yeah. Have you done another 100-miler since then, or has that been the only one you've done?
That is the only one I've done. And then so recently, the part of the DNF yesterday, which was my first official DNF besides a backyard ultra, was I signed up for Samson's Revenge. It's this elk that got poached in Estes Park, and they have this race for Samson's Revenge. Insane amount of vert for a 50K, which is fine. I live in Colorado. It's what I train with. I go to Boulder and I get 6,000 feet of vert in 11 miles, and it's a slog, but I enjoy that. So I didn't think anything of it. But over the last couple weeks, I noticed I was losing a lot of hair. So I went to my doctor. I'm like, is my thyroid wonky? What's going on? I'm a woman. I'm perimenopausal. Maybe it's something to do with my hormones. She's like, well, let's check your iron. And they changed portals at my doctor's office, blah, blah, blah. She calls me and she's like, it's critically low. We got to put you on this insane dose of iron. And she did. And I started taking it without question, logged into my portal, saw my iron, that it's on the low end of normal and it's not actually low at all. And I was feeling really dizzy, really sick. I couldn't function. I went out for a run and I was just ghostly white. It was supposed to be my long run training run for this race I DNF'd. And my friend's like, you look like you're going to die. We're going to turn around and go back to the car and we're just calling it, and I made it 7 miles out of like a 15-mile hard long run. And it was just miserable. And I've just been kind of sickly since, but slowly getting better once I cut the iron out. When I had my labs done after that day again, and it was like off the charts iron toxicity. So I guess that can screw you up pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I should have just like postponed the race, but it's fine. I made it 18 miles. They gave me a 27K finish. So it wasn't an official DNF, thankfully. Not that I care a whole lot. I didn't even know how to DNF. I was like, I feel like I'm dying. I just couldn't breathe right. That's one of the issues that happened from the iron toxicity, is real short of breath and my lungs were burning. I'm like, I run in high altitude all the time. I live in Colorado. This isn't a thing that happens to me, but I sat down in my little chair and wrapped up in my blanket because it was cold all of a sudden and raining, and just like took off my bib. And my friend's like, you got to tell them you DNF'd. And so I finally, hours later, after eating pizza and drinking beers and chilling in my chair, I went over. I was like, oh yeah, I quit after 3 loops. They were like, oh yeah, it's a 27K finish. It's fine. It's not a DNF. I'm like, it's a DNF. I signed up for 55Ks and I quit because my body my lungs weren't working. I called Saul. I think, isn't that like the old attorney, Better Call Saul? It's
Yeah,
like,
Better Call Saul. As soon as you said that, I was like, yeah, that's there's a
yeah.
sign out there.
He's my, my trail husband. He paced me for the 100-miler and watched my kid the first 50 miles because my friend who was in Vegas got off work and picked her up after that. But just my hero. So I called him. I'm like, I feel like I'm dying. He's like, you sound like shit. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to hike this mountain one more time and then we'll see, instead of turning around and just being done like a smart person. So I have that mentality just in my 100-miler. I think we talked about that earlier. Like, if I'm not dead, if I can still breathe and my heart's still beating and I could still move forward, I'm going to keep going. I'm way too dumb to quit because pain is completely irrelevant to me. But I was like, oh, this is my lungs. I can't really breathe. Like, this is stupid. And after I DNF'd, I hacked up a bunch of crap and just took it easy. And I feel fine today. So I'm like, well, what the hell? I should have just tried. Like, should have pushed a little more. Maybe it was the right thing. But
no, sometimes it's smart to, definitely in situations like that, it's smart to take the L, but to be able to run another day, that's definitely something smart. So, I always tell people, when it comes to ultra running, like there's going to be pain, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. Like you're going to go through hell multiple times. You're going to be able to pull yourself out unless you are like severely injured where you have like, if you keep running, it's going to further your injury, you're breaking bones, or you're like at a point to death. Like you can't keep anything down. You're throwing up. You're at a point of heat exhaustion. Those are the times to pull it. If you're just kind of in a funk,
it's not a reason to quit.
A lot can be changed by time and food. Walk it out, eat some food. You'll get out of the funk. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a critter of this as well. It's hard when you're in that area to pull yourself out and to tell yourself that. But I think through experience and, a lot of running and a lot of running of ultras, it kind of just becomes second nature that you're going to be in the pain cave and it's going to hurt. But yeah, I think like, road running is a little different than trail running. And we always talk about the differences and the comparisons, but there's a good little audio out there on Instagram that I've heard. It's like when you run a marathon, you're going to go through hell and then it's over. When you run an ultra, you're going to go through hell, come out of it, go right back into it, and then come out of it again multiple times. And, it's far too often I see people, quitting or DNFing when they're in the middle of one of those funks and when they're in hell. And it's like, give it 20 minutes, man. Pop a caffeine fill, pop some salt, eat a little bit of ramen, and you just walk it out. You'll probably be all right.
Completely. I was just saying that in my race. I thought of Sally McRae. I think it was Moab or something, one of her 200 milers. She had blisters at like mile 5. And I'm like, if she can crush 240 miles, my ass can sloth 100 miles with wrecked feet. So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, it's just pain. And it really is. I love Andy Glaze. I love Courtney Dauwalter, although she never complains about anything. She talks about the pain cave, and I love her reference of chiseling the pain cave in the mind. So a lot of that was kind of going in my head. My friend Terry Miller, he's been DFL at Hard Rock before, and he's local, and we run together all the time. I call him Rafiki because he's just full of wisdom. He's older than me by like 15 years, and I just love running with him and just listening. And plus my fat ass is behind him struggling, eating waffles, and I'm like, just tell me stories and I don't have to talk. I can just suffer behind you. But his thing is, it's just pain. And I had all this going on in my head. I'm like, it's just pain. And you get to the other side of it. I remember I follow Andy Glaze, and he'll talk about how mile 70 feels better than mile 20. I was wrecked by mile 12 and I felt completely toast by mile 20. And after mile 35, I got my feet fixed, taped up, and Carrie Cooper came to the race and just put so much love into popping my disgusting blisters. My feet were just annihilated. I blisters under my toenails. She's sticking needles under there. I'm like, oh, it was miserable. But like the love she put into it kind of lit my soul on fire. And I just felt so supported. And it's kind of cringe, but I'm like, all that love really did get me through. And gave me a boost. I had some caffeine and smashed some meat lovers pizza while I was sitting there getting my feet fixed. And like, if I'm going to stay here, it's going to be resourceful sitting here. I'm going to fuel. And I like the rest of the race was fine. I had to get my feet fixed again at mile 68, but I'm like, this is the last time. And then I'm just, whatever happens, happens. I don't care anymore. I could feel blisters popping in my shoe. I'm like, oh, never doing pre-taping again. We'll just fuck around and see what happens in my next 100-miler. I've got a 50-miler in 2 weeks. I think that'll be a good gauge of like what my feet will look like again in my next 100-miler, which will be Crown Stub 100 in October. So I'm super excited. Chad Ultra, Jeremy McCoubry, sponsored that with a little help of some awesome friends.
Yeah. I'd like to talk a little bit more about the DNF that you had yesterday. So like, I know they gave you a 27K finish, so it wasn't technically a DNF, but in your mind, like you signed up for the 50K. How are you processing this? I mean, it seems like it's still new and you're pretty good spirits about it because, it's contributed to your poisoning basically, but it's still got to have some kind of an effect on you. Walk us through a little bit, talk about it.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed last night, and my friends were really great. I had a friend fly out from DC, a Flatlander, and crush this Estes Park race in Rocky Mountain National Park, and another friend who finished it in 6 hours. And I mean, there's like 7,500 feet of vert in this race, but he's a like sub 3 hour marathoner and just came and smashed this trail race that I talked him into, and I DNF'd. So I'm sitting there drinking beer, eating pizza inside by the fireplace at the YMCA, the Rockies, staying warm because it got really cold and shitty for a while. It's Colorado. You get off, then it's hot again an hour later. It's ridiculous. But I was a little disappointed in myself. Like I ran 100 miles and felt bliss from 35 to 101 miles. And then I DNF'd a 55K, which is not even a real ultra. I was just so pissed off because my mental grit is so high, but it really was like at one point, I'm like, I just can't breathe. Like my lungs are just not working right and something's off. And if it's my heart and lungs, like you said, there are some things that are just non-negotiable. If it's pain, I don't give a crap about pain. I will, if the bone ain't showing, keep going. There's just no, that's my bad ultra running advice.
Yeah. There's that like ER or PR, like, you hear that a lot. I don't know if I fully agree with that one, but
like even at my 100-miler, there was a guy who DNF'd at mile 50. I was at mile 68 getting my feet fixed in the middle of the night, slamming pizza and, just being a trash panda, screaming at every blister she's popping. And he's like, he takes off his bib. He's like, I'm done. And I looked at him like, you look fine. What's wrong? I'm just chafed really bad. I'm like, oh, well, baby, come here. Bring them things over here. I'll rub some lube on them and you can keep going in your little gray sweatpants. But he was like, I'm happy with 50. And I'm like, you are walking, you're upright, you're talking, you're breathing fine, your heart's beating. There is no reason to quit, baby. You got to go for it. And here I am quitting at 18 miles, but I couldn't breathe. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I couldn't really train. So I got what I put in. You get out what you put in. Although I didn't really train great for the 100-miler either. So I think maybe that was just luck and my mental grit getting me through it. And my life, like as a single mom, things are hard. I run a nonprofit. It's not like basic. I'm going to still do it because I'm helping people, but I haven't taken a paycheck in a long time. Just government, all the things happening, like nonprofits are just getting it really hard right now. Not in any fun way. No lube, it's not exciting. I didn't get my glass of wine first. Just got it unexpected. So it's fine. It's, taking some shifts. I've got a master's degree. I've got some good interviews coming up. But at the time of my 100-miler, I was just like, okay, well, if I quit, I got to go back to my regular life. Like someone really amazing is watching my kid right now. I don't have to work. All I have to do is run 100 miles. And maybe I just need that level of stress again in my life to really put it like if I die doing this, then I don't have to deal with my life, It's a win-win.
oh my gosh. I guess. Yeah, that's
Whatever gets you through to that finish line.
oh my gosh.
So yeah, the DNF, it sucked. I was a little sad and disappointed because I don't have a huge ego about stuff either. I mean, I was dying 3 years ago, so the fact that I'm upright and eating what I want, breathing air and being okay is fine. But I'm still a little hurt about it. I have a 50 miler in 2 weeks though, so it's one of those DNFs where you label it as a training run and keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your Strava write up is a paragraph story.
Yep. Me crying at the aid station. It's raining and I've got my hood on with my Oreos. Yeah.
Well,
What
you know,
50
maybe
miler? Oh, go ahead, Robbie. Sorry.
I was going to say maybe you just needed this learning experience.
Maybe I did for sure. It was good
Yeah.
though. Like, I was the right amount of sore today because I climbed the fucking mountain 3 times. It was a looped course and it was miserable. Bible Point and Estes Park, like just straight up grueling. It was good though. Like, I think I pushed really hard too. It's like, I'm so slow. I'm going to PR this race. And by PR, I mean DNF, but.
Well, technically it's something you've never done before, so you did
PR by DNF.
you did kind of PR.
Yeah.
Hear that one for sure. Yeah, my next race is in 2 weeks. Aravaipa, it's the North Fork. It's up in Buffalo Creek in Conifer, Colorado. And
I've
I run
run
there
that
all the
one.
time with my friends, and it's gorgeous up there. I love it. It's not crazy elevation gain. Not that I care about that normally, but yesterday was a disaster. So I'm going to give myself one more really hard run. If I finished yesterday, I was just going to taper town for 2 weeks and do next to nothing, which is my favorite thing to do. Eat like a dumpster and lay around and lay around. I'm a single mom. I work like 3 jobs. I don't lay around much, but ideally that's what I want to do. But now I'm like, damn it, I still have to train because I'm not satisfied with an 18-mile run, even though it was a hard one and it took me 5 hours. But so I'm going to go out with my friend Terry on Thursday and do one of those horrible boulder days that take 8 hours and it's only 11 miles at the end of it, but you've got like 8,000 feet of elevation gain and it's just constant up and down with your poles and your wrists hurt more than your quads and hamstrings from the stupid poles. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do as a treat for DNFing this race and really make sure that I'm somewhat trained. And I think too, I don't really have a huge emotional attachment. I didn't have one to the race I ran yesterday. And maybe if I did, if it meant something like my first 100-miler, I'm going all in. If I die, I don't care, And so now I'm like, I don't really care about these races a whole lot. And I really should. I need to make a connection to it. So I think my 50-miler will be some existential thing because I'm an extreme extrovert and I love all my long runs are with friends. My races, I usually sign up with friends and we'll run together. So yesterday I ran by myself, even though I had friends there. I'm way too slow to run with them. I'm not trying to do a 6-hour 55K with 7,500 feet of vert. No, thank you. Y'all can keep that. I'll be at the back 4 hours later, passing the finish line eating my donut, Hell no. I have no interest in that. I am a less than mediocre back of the pack runner, happily in my comfort zone back here where it's slow and steady. But I think for the 50-miler, it's like, okay, it's all, I don't have any friends running it with me. I don't even know if I have pending crew. And it's just like, okay, I have 50 miles to run in the woods alone. And I don't usually do that a whole lot. Occasionally I'll go out by myself and do a nice long run, but usually I have friends. So I think that'll be good for me, sit in that discomfort because that's where our work is on ourselves. And like, God knows I have enough bullshit in my life. I get to sit with my bullshit for 50 miles and it's going to be a slow 50 miles because I'm a sloth. So I'm going to be out there for maximizing my race dollars.
Nice.
But Aravaipa has Oreos, so like I'm pretty stoked about that. I'm just gonna maybe they'll even have the double stuffed. I hope so. It might be the only thing that gets me through it.
If they're deep fried, that's even better.
Yeah, deep fried Oreos. Hell yeah. We need to get you. How do we get you? Where are you at in the world, Robbie?
Oh, I live in Rapid City, South Dakota.
Okay. Oh, that's so cool. My best friend, my trail wifey, her name's Rachel Baxter, and we've done every long run together for the last 2 years. We met on BUA. We were neighbors and didn't know it. She's like, oh, we're in the same By Nothing group. And It was so great. Now, the first time we went for a trail run together, I had Indian food and dark beer the night before. And for some reason, Guinness must just be fibery. I don't know. I don't usually drink it. I'm into the hazy IPAs, and not that that's any better on the guts, but we went for our first trail run together, and it was supposed to be a 10-mile run, getting ready for the Estes Park race last summer. And I had the worst Indian food diarrhea of my life. And it was on Green Mountain, which I'll have to send you a picture of what Green Mountain in Lakewood, Colorado looks
I
like.
thought you were about to say send you a picture of the diarrhea. I was like, I don't want-
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm weird, but I'm not that weird.
There's not a tree on Green Mountain.
There's not a tree on Green Mountain. So I was like, well, we're going to make this a 5-mile loop. And it's now Brown Mountain. Like, I don't know what to say. I was like,
Where
just
did you
keep
go?
going.
Where'd you go at? Like on the east side, the west side, the south side?
Pretty much like my 100-miler, right? Here's the trail, and I'm just going to step right over here.
Oh
and
my
call it. Like,
W-
fuck
Were you
it.
like on the road, the going up to the top, the main road?
On Green Mountain. So you've been to Green
Yeah.
Mountain before.
Yeah, I've ran Green Mountain quite a bit.
Okay. You get it. Yeah, there's none. You
There's
already
not a tree.
understand. There's nowhere to shit. And if there is a bush, you're probably going to get a rattlesnake up your ass.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
don't go in the bush. Yeah. It was on the, so, when you go up the fire road at the Rooney lot, you couldn't go left up to Boxer Rocks or right to like the
Boxer
John
Rocks.
Hayden Trails, Green Mountain
Yeah.
Trail. So it was on,
Mhm.
we went right to do a little 5-mile loop.
Oh,
and come
yeah.
back.
I know, yeah.
Nothing up there.
No.
I've shit all over that mountain. I mean, just no shame. Just Indian food roulette. Like, what's going to happen? No
I
idea.
know what's going to happen. You're eating Indian food before a long run.
So bad. I will
Why
never.
do you keep
I have an
doing
iron
it?
stomach. Yeah, I have an iron stomach, but
Apparently you don't.
I don't. Not for Indian food. I ate burritos and stuff before my 55K, and pizza and pierogies for breakfast after my first breakfast, and just fine. Nothing. No issues, but Indian food just gets me. So that's how I met my
I
trail
think it
wife.
gets everybody.
It does. Andy Glaze posted a video about like having diarrhea at one of his races because he ate Indian food. I'm like, damn it.
Oh, yeah, I
that
remember
must
that.
be a thing. Yeah.
Oh
So
my
that's how I
gosh.
met my best friend and trail wife on BUA. Our first run, I had horrible diarrhea from Indian food and dark beer. And she decided I was her person. And we've run every Sunday together, every long run. We trained for my first 50K together. She ran it too for a bit and ended up DNFing. She had like weird heart stuff. So I was like, don't die. I love you. Like, please DNF before you DNF at life, or finish at life too soon. So, but yeah, I've just met some of the greatest people on there, and the stories check out. It's like, well, yeah, you met on BUA. Of course, this is how your first run together is going to go. It's awesome. But she's moving to South Dakota. I guess that all of that to say, I shit all over Green Mountain to tell you that my best friend's moving to South Dakota. And there are some epic races out there in the Black Hills. And they're really affordable as far as I can tell. And just, it's affordable to live there. And as far as compared to Denver, at least, I don't know what Alaska's like either, but Denver's
Oh, it's
insane.
super expensive to live here.
Yeah.
I moved from Lafayette, so I'm not going to say it's much cheaper than Colorado.
Okay. Yeah, Lafayette's not terrible. Denver is absurd. It's like $5,000 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment anymore. It's like, what? Who are you? And it's not nice. Like, it's not a nice apartment for $5,000 a month. It's just what you'd get anywhere else for a third of the price.
Yeah.
So life choices over here.
I have a good poop story up Green Mountain in Boulder.
Oh, the Boulder Green Mountain. I love that bolt.
You know how once you get up to high enough, there's just rocks and trees. Yeah, I couldn't hold anymore, and I just had to go all over the rocks. No toilet paper, nothing.
That's called chafe, Robbie.
I got.
Totally not chafe.
We were going. We did Green and Bear, and it was just a short run, right? You know, that's not very short when you go up there.
Run 2,000 feet of vert in a mile, a bare
Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible. That's what I'm gonna go do Thursday.
I didn't have my pack on. I didn't have any water, nothing. I'm like, it'll be quick, and yeah, I got a little chafing from that one, but it wasn't too bad. I just ran faster.
Oh God, I don't even run faster. I mean, I've never shit myself. Surprisingly, I just, because I have no shame, I think too, I could probably stand to have a little shame. I was making eye contact and shitting during my 100-miler at like mile 75 in the desert heat, just like miserable. And Saul's like, do you want to hike and go poop in those bushes? I'm like, fuck no, I'm not doing extra work. I'm going to shit next to the trail like a champion and keep going. And I'm talking to him and like, you don't think this is weird, Kendra? You're like making eye contact with me and shitting right in the open in the desert. I'm like, no, it's just a regular Saturday, Sunday. I don't know whatever day it was.
Oh my God.
No shame.
Oh. Well, let's flip the script a little bit from shitting on Green Mountain.
Green Mountains.
To when you first hit me up about coming on the podcast, you had mentioned like there was some creeps that were coming around, sending some messages and stuff. So you wanted a platform to talk.
Yeah, I do. So like making ultra running safe again for women, I think is really important. And I don't mean to like be in my soapbox, but it's a thing. And there was a guy in my DMs and he was from BUA commenting on stuff. And this woman reached out and she said, this man's been stalking me. Like, she lives in Florida and he lives in Arizona, and packed up his little bus and drove out there and stalked her and showed up from her Strava runs at a run club. And when I called him out publicly, because I don't care, like if you want to show up at my doorstep and try to murder me, like good luck. I am such an idiot. Like I'll probably trip and fall and accidentally kill you. You know, like I just don't have
Throw a cake in your face.
Exactly. I just don't have weird fears like that, you know. And as a single mom, maybe I should probably err on the side of caution. But if someone's being a dick in the world, like I'm gonna call you out. And if I'm being an asshole, call me out, because that's what love is, you know. I tell my friends, love me enough to call me out when I'm being an idiot, which is a lot. So like it's a lot of work. I'll buy you beers, you know, it's fine. But call this guy out publicly, and so many other guys in the ultra running world were like, oh, that's just, I don't know if I can say his name legally or not, but they're like, that's just Philip. That's just what he does. I'm like, he just is rapey. Like, that's just Philip. That's okay. I'm
That's
like,
okay.
yeah, that's not okay. Like,
Yeah.
maybe like one of my not a friend anymore, this guy, Steve, was like, oh yeah, we're friends on Facebook. And he's texting me. I'm at work one night and it's raining and I'm eating my tacos on my break. And he's telling me how Philip allegedly raped one of his girlfriends. And I'm like, and you're Facebook friends and you talked to him at races? Like, that's not your girlfriend. That's not your friend, you know, female friend. And like, how do you justify that? You know, like we need to change that dynamic. Like, how is this guy not in a freaking river? Not saying that's what anybody should do. No, I'm not here for violence. I'm a lover, not a fighter. Like, I'll pray for him and hope he goes to therapy and changes, or hope that his bus explodes while he's driving on the interstate alone with no cars around. I don't know, but like, you know, there's just, and then when I called him out, there were all this snowball effect of the guy Steve, who I thought I was friends with. And I'm like, that's not cool. And he's justifying Philip's behavior. And, you know, I think that there's a lot more of that than what gets talked about. I actually talked to trail gangsters and they're phenomenal human beings. I don't know if I shared it with you or maybe it was Chad Ultra, but they were immediately like, oh, okay, yeah, we've actually heard that about Philip. He's banned from our races. Thank you for telling me. You know, and Steve was like harassing all of my girlfriends because I blocked him after that. I'm like, I can't be friends with you. Like, this isn't cool. You're friends with a rapist, and kind of like, you know, and there's like the run bum guy, and he's got a whole laundry list of legal allegations, and the other guy from what is it, the Human Potential Race Series. Nobody likes him either. I've never run any of his races. I don't have any personal interactions, but you know, it's just one of those things where everybody just brushes it off. And I'm like, that's not okay, you know? And how can we like lean on everybody in the ultra community, but as women, like we need to lean on the men to maybe take a better stance when they see that shit. Like, that's not just Philip. He's just a little rapey, you know?
Yeah.
Walter, one of my friends is like, oh yeah, he's hit on my wife at every race I've ever run at. And I'm like, wait, and he still has teeth in his mouth? Like, it's like, I'm not suggesting violence, but I'm just shocked is all. Like, it's just shocking to me that behavior is just looked over. And like, I'd love to run Cocodona one day. I wouldn't love to run it if Jamil let Philip run it. I don't want to be in the desert with some guy who's a little bit crazy and rapey, like it doesn't feel cool to me. And so, I just feel like it needs to be put out there a little bit, and maybe I've done my part, and that's okay. I know, like, Steve is probably banned from Leadville. He uses his ex-wife's address to run in Leadville, but he was harassing all my friends after I blocked him, like trying to justify this rapey guy's behavior. And he's done some rapey shit too. And women come forward once you call someone out, like, oh yeah, here's my experience with him. And he threatened to leave me in the middle of the forest when I didn't want to wreck my personal record and take an 8-hour nap in my 200 miler, but he threatened me and all this stuff. And just wrecked other people's races. And I'm like, well, he illegally uses his ex-wife's address to get into Leadville every year. So that's not cool either. When my friend Terry Miller has 1 million volunteer hours and can't get in because there's no space because douchebags like Steve, who he's threatening my friend who's running Leadville and harassing her. And I'm like, why is that allowed? And the woman in charge, like, she heard it loud and clear and was like, yeah, that behavior is not okay. I'm like, here's a screenshot of all the text messages. Don't just take my word for it, and I'm not trying to ruin people's lives, but, I think we need to do a little better, and ultra running should be a safe space for women. And overall it is, I've had nothing but good experiences. I'm probably the weirdest person on the trails, to be honest. But
yeah, I know the run bum, like there was an allegation that was called out on him, whether it was, true or not, I don't know. It was an allegation, right? And then this was shared to me through, a friend of mine that shared it with me. And I had previously told her, hey, there are allegations out there, and, just be aware when you go run one of their races. And she was running one of their races. And, and then this allegation comes out, and I was like, I kind of did tell you that, he has that type of vibe. And so of course she was running another one of his races. She canceled it, but she was sharing some of the screenshots from this private group of, all of these people defending him. And I was like, I get it. It's a he said, she said versus, I understand, but we have a laundry list of stuff that's happened in the past. Don't you think that you would find a little bit of value in this one as well? And so I get it. I don't understand why people would support their race. I don't know.
He threatens them to sue them. So does the guy from Human Potential. That's why. So the guy from Run Bum was in my DMs defending Philip, the rapey guy, saying, well, that's just he said, she said. And you need legal documentation. And that's where Steve was supporting the guy from Run Bum and protecting Philip for whatever ungodly reason. Like, you need legal support. I'm like, honey, I've been raped before. I was a minor. The guy was 40 and it was his wedding and he was the groom and he went to jail for a night and that was it. I couldn't press charges. Nothing happened. It got thrown out, even though like I had physical bruises, his handprint on me. Like, women don't get legal proof. And then I learned the reason Steve was saying that is because there are a lot of women who, have been assaulted by him in ways. And the same POS guy from Run Bum, like he's like, oh, that's just he said, she said, and that's slander, and I'll sue you for slander. I'm like, sue me for what? I'm a broke ass single mom. Like, good luck, bro. And same with that stupid asshole from Human Potential. He's like that. He's tried to sue people for slander, and that's all they can do. And so people are afraid of that, so they support him. It's out of fear. And I'm like, I'm not afraid of you. Like, if you're an asshole, I'm going to call you out. And I think other people should know. And I won't pay money to support the races. And, there are going to be a few bad seeds. But overall, the ultra running community is a pretty amazing place. I've met nothing but great people. Who else can I take a shit and make eye contact with? I met Saul on B-Way. Like, dude's a legend. He runs he's training for a 500-mile self-supported race. I'm like, hey, this guy slept in my bed twice and did not even touch a butt cheek. Like, you know, just good people like that. But then there are the few bad people, and it just really sucks. You know, I've had people from BUA fly in and run races, and some have stayed in my house, some have babysat my kid overtime after I got to know them, because I'm, you know, I'm a good mom. I mean, I don't know if anyone's a good parent, but I'm doing my best here. You know, I'm protective, but you know, it's just really sad when, like you said, there's the evidence. And the point that a lot of women were trying to make is like, when a woman comes forward and shares her story, like my friend in Florida, you don't take, it's not, "Oh, show me the proof, give me the legal document." No, this chick just, she's scared for her life, and she just shared something really big. Let's just believe our women. Yeah, there's going to be a few women who are psychopaths and make up crap and crush men's name, and that sucks when that happens. But overall, the stories are typically true, especially when this woman is not the only one who has a story. I spoke with Philip's ex-wife, you know, who has a restraining order against him. Like, do you think he's really a good guy? Do we need legal documentation? She probably has it, to be honest. You know, like, he's a creep. How about we just, he needs to be banned from races. You know, Chad Ultra was like, "Oh, let me get on Ultra sign up, let me support you," like that. Your word is enough. I'm like, I have screenshots if you need to show Ultra sign up. No, they don't want that piece of crap at the races. We don't want rapey guys at races. So, you know, that's kind of, and again, I'm like, I shared screenshots of Steve harassing my friend who's running Leadville, and she's scared to do anything about it because she's like, I'm going to see him twice at the Silver Rush and at the 100 miler. I'm like, not on my fucking watch, you know, like. I just reached out to the RDM. I'm not even running Leadville. I'm way too slow for that crap. Like, I'd love to. I just, yeah, sure, someday, but I'll be with my turtle socks over, you know, DNFing because I can only run races with generous gunners. But she was scared too, and I'm like, that's not a fun place to be in when you're running a really hard 1,500 miler and you're scared to report this guy for harassing you constantly, like pages and pages defending Philip, defending Run Bum Guy. And I'm like, oh, you guys are just bad vibes, you know, and ruining it for a lot of good men and good people out there, because most of them are good. And it doesn't mean there are batshit crazy women. I've met some bonkers women out on the trails too. You know, we're all in this sport because we're a little bit nutty. But as long as that spectrum is in the like safe zone, when it gets to be like physical damage or
if it's ultra running nutty, then we're good.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I get it. Yeah, there's a few bad apples, ruin it for everyone, and it's definitely not what we want in our sport. Our sport is so amazing, and we talk so much about community and uplifting each other, and that's the thing that we want to continue on when we're trying to invite more people out to trail and ultra running. So I totally get it, and I appreciate you coming out and speaking about it. But I want to know, what is your most embarrassing story?
Oh God.
I mean, I feel like we've just hit the little hi-hat up there. I feel like we can go through a whole drum solo here.
Right. Like in ultra running, or just like in life? I mean,
yeah, let's go ultra running. Let's get a little bit specific here.
Stay on topic. Yeah. I mean, I don't really have a lot of shame. So that probably so I don't really feel embarrassed, but things that are probably theoretically embarrassing would probably be like meeting Rachel for the first time and having Indian food shit, or, they're like little things. So that Rachel and I were on a long run training for a 50K at Waterton Canyon. It's kind of flat and we kind of hate it because then we can't walk anything because it's runnable. And we're like halfway up to the Colorado Trail, and I eat this goo gel, and I had like the snots, so I spit, and then we're walking, and this smoking hot guy comes running up behind me. I'm like, God damn, look at his quads, Rachel. She's happily married. So she's like, you're on your bullshit, Kendra, whatever. And he turned around, we're laughing. We're walking and I'm eating still. And he turns around and he looks, and I've got this like goo gel chocolate on the side of my face, and just like walking and eating. And I mean, I should have been embarrassed, but I wasn't. But I mean, I laughed too. Like, he had to turn around and look at me to make sure he was taking in whatever was happening here. And yeah, smoking hot guy. And then of course he lapped us twice, and he probably did, who knows how many miles the dude did. Probably ran up the whole damn Colorado Trail and back twice. And the time that we did 13 miles, but
all right, we're going to quick fire you right quick. You know the answer to these questions, but we got to know. You already told us what your favorite footwear is, but tell us again, what do you got on your feet? What do you like running in?
Speedland. I was one of those idiot ultra cultists when I first started running, and I had so many injuries. I'm with you, boy, Scott Urich, on this. Like, you can't run in that shit. It will injure you. I was in PT for 18 months, and then my friend Diara, he's sponsored by Speedland. He's like, just buy the damn shoes, and I bought them, and I love them. It's the only thing I could run in. So
Nice.
that's my jam.
What's your go-to like clothing? Do you have a specific brand that you just like can't run without?
Yeah, my go-to sports bra matters. Chafing sucks. So the Lululemon Like a Cloud Longline bra is my jam. And anything compression, because my thighs are thick. Like I said, I smashed a half a cake before this interview. And so I'm not on a diet ever in my life. And my thighs will catch fire if I don't have compression. So the Janji 8-inch shorts, anything 8 inches or longer, if it's soft and has pockets, don't, it could be some Amazon crap. I don't even care. Like that's my go-to.
Nice.
And yeah, I like the Solomon, the long sleeve shirt, because I'm thick over in this area. So like when I run, when I'm power hiking these hills, I get really bad chafing here. So I just have to wear, short sleeves, and it's kind of holy and sporty, and so it doesn't get too hot, which is nice. And yeah.
Favorite pack?
Yeah, Solomon Advanced Skin 12, I think is the one I have. It's got
Nice.
the little hooks for the quiver poles, and just love that. And all the snack packs. Like, if you see my 100-mile finish, the amount of snacks that I stuffed in that vest is unreal.
Go-to nutrition.
Tailwind DeWalter Melon is my favorite.
That's good. So good.
Favorite. Yeah, I do a little scratch from here and there, but I like the Tailwind because I want to say I have a high metabolism. Maybe I'm just a fat kid. I don't know, but I need a lot of nutrients. And so I'll do like 3 scoops of Tailwind because it's 300 calories. And I just feel great on that. If I don't do that, I get shaky, even if I'm eating real food. So whatever the hell that's about, I just love Tailwind. So it's my jam. Precision Fuels, the occasional goo gel. I know they're like, some people are like, oh, don't put anything in your body you could buy at Walmart. I'm like, but they have amino acids, and that actually makes me feel a lot better, in a race. And I love Martin gels, but if I'm not consistently training with it, like the memes check out, like they are, you don't need a colonic, just take one of those, whether you're running or not. And within 10, 15 minutes, that penny you ate when you were 2, honey, that's coming out. So.
All right, we got a new one for you. You haven't heard this one yet. You can only listen to one song for the rest of your life. If you're going to listen to music, it is going to be this song. What song is that?
Oh, that's a tough one. So I don't listen to music when I run. I do like the sound of my feet. But if I could only listen to one song, it'd probably be something ridiculous. Like, I just rewatched Moana 2. My kid wasn't even in the room. She's like up playing. She's like, oh, mom's on her bullshit again, probably. I mean, she's not saying that, but I'm sure she's thinking it.
Yeah.
Probably like that What Lies Beyond song by Moana. That's I love music. I love real artists too, but I mean, I stay on some bullshit Disney songs all day long as a mom. So that might be it. In fact, like the first time I saw Moana 2, I was like, I only want people to communicate to me in Moana 2 songs for like months. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Kendra, where can people find you if they want to follow you on socials? I've already beat the door down about bad ultra running advice, but they'll see you on there. I promise you. Just log onto that page and you're there. But somebody wants to follow you on socials. If you want to give any shout outs, this is your space. Go for it.
Yeah, for sure. My Instagram is Kendra_rising. And I should probably change it to something more ridiculous anymore. It was when I was dying, and then I healed and started running, and I was all inspired. But now I'm just like all full of bullshit.
Kendra_trash panda.
Yes, that might be it. Stay tuned. If you can't find me at Kendra Rising, that's the one. I also run a nonprofit if anyone wants to send love in these tough times. But also it's the Global Coherence Project. You can go to globalcoherenceproject.org. I created these free recordings. Part of the reason I finished my 100-miler is because my mind is right, but I think that's not the right word for it because we run ultras. I think my nervous system is regulated. And I created these neuroscience-based recordings. Some are just as little as 5 minutes. Public schools do them. Restorative justice programs use them. It's just like if you're an ultra runner, I saw someone's post today, one of those long DNF stab reports where they're crying and holding hands with the aid station volunteer. This guy in the rain at Cruel Jewel this weekend, and I'm like,
Oh yeah.
get your nerves, like take 5 minutes and listen to this. Like, you know, I call them guided self-reflections. It's a meditation, but you can't say that in a public school, or they'll be like, it's religious based, and it's not. It's all, I'm like, it's neuroscience based guided self-reflection, and they're like, we love this. This is changing our school. Like, we're just doing this huge research project, and like, it's just statistically significant. So, you know, you can follow that, globalcoherenceproject.org or Kendra_rising, or just look up in Bad Ultra Running Advice eyebrows and my face will pop up.
I love it. Well, Kendra, thanks so much for coming on. It was a awesome conversation. Love getting to know the ins and outs of people. It's a lot of fun. So I appreciate you coming on. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you. Likewise. It's been nice hanging out with you guys. I hope you have a good night.
Yeah, thanks. If you like Kendra's podcast, please leave us a comment, leave us a review. We're on all platforms. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple. Robbie mixes it up, puts it on YouTube. Leave us a comment anywhere. You will see Kendra's face on the Instagram Golden Hour Adventures podcast. So leave us a comment there. Share it out with your friends. Get our podcast in your ears. Get it in everybody else's ears. And of course, we'll see you on the trails.